Out of respect for your time, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves started here as quickly as possible. Let me just make a couple of adjustments. We'll mute your lines, and then you'll be able to unmute yourself later, especially when it comes to asking questions, or if you'd like to make a comment at some point during our discussion, because we're going to be talking quite a bit today about the phenomenal information that Dr. Prasad presented to us just this past weekend. My name is Jonathan Jones. It is my privilege to be your host and moderator for the evening. You've been invited here tonight because someone cared enough about you to share with you this channel and information about these discussions, because they felt that there may be something here that could benefit you or someone that you care about. And that humbles me, because it makes me believe then that there's individuals that have found some value in the information that we're sharing. Now, I know that there's value in the information that we're sharing because it's all been carefully researched, and nothing that's being presented here has been fabricated, has not been made up. It's all based on pure science. Now, the FDA is the only one that can declare a nutritional supplement to be a treatment or cure for disease. So please understand that I'm not attempting to diagnose any conditions or otherwise. And this information is not intended to be that. It's not intended to be a substitute for a visit to your primary health care physician. I'm not a doctor. I strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. I am a researcher, and I'm passing on information that has been carefully researched. My partners are doctors, naturopathic doctors, and scientists, and otherwise. These are individuals that I work very closely with. And I have a company called the Healthcare Support Association of America. It's a small nonprofit organization. Our goal is to pass on information to those of us who would otherwise not normally have access to it. When you hear testimonials, please understand that testimonials are purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. These products that we're discussing are not intended to be confused with treatments for any disease states. They're not a treatment or a cure for any disease state. And again, what happens to one person may or may not happen to you. You'll see our disclaimer on the screen a couple times throughout our discussion. Okay? Now, when you get information, it's kind of foolish not to use it, right? So we kind of encourage people to gather the information and then do something with it, and then decide whether or not it has any value to you or has any application to your particular circumstance. We do know that doctors love it when their patients are mentally and emotionally involved in their well-being, and that they take some responsibility for the outcome of their particular unique circumstance. So doctors love that. But here's what I want to share with you. See if I can, if Dr. Prasad answered my question. I sent Dr. Prasad a question I wanted to try to get clear exactly where his paper was published. So I don't have that, but I'm going to tell you what the title of his published paper is, because that's what we're talking about tonight. What we're talking about tonight is I really want to just try to get your thoughts about what you heard this past weekend. So anyone who was here this past Sunday and heard Dr. Prasad cover the information about anti-aging, slowing the aging process, especially as it relates to Alzheimer's disease, I'd like to take a couple of your comments right now, just what you thought of Dr. Prasad's presentation this past weekend. Anyone who'd like to make a comment on it. Even if you heard the recording, you didn't have to hear it live, just share any thoughts that you had on it. And if there's no one here that was here yesterday, whoa, boy, you really missed something. So I'm going to lay the foundation for you today and whet your appetite for what you missed. Okay. So it seemed like no one was here yesterday. It's a good thing we have more than one meeting then. Okay. I'm going to try to see if I can't bring up a link to yesterday's meeting and put that in the chat for you. But most of the meetings are recorded. my meetings at least. And you can find most of them on my YouTube channel. And my YouTube channel is, you should write this down, YouTubeJonathan.com. It's very simple, YouTubeJonathan.com. I'm going to put that in the chat, and you should copy that down. And then just go there and click on the live section. When you click on the live section, then you can see the recordings from previous live meetings that were live streamed. You'll find those right there. And you'll want to get access to Dr. Prasad, the discussion from this past weekend. But I tell you what I'll do. I'm going to go ahead and just jump over to some of the slides and give you some of that information right now that Dr. Prasad shared with us. It's amazing, in my opinion. The best way to hear this kind of information is directly the author of it, the scientist himself, the man who did the research, because it really was, in my opinion, mind-boggling. Now, on the left side of the screen, that's his published paper. That's the title of Dr. Prasad's new published paper, A Micronutrient Mixture with Collagen Peptides, Probiotics, Cannabidiol, and Diet. Check this out. May reduce aging and development and progression of age-related Alzheimer's disease and improve its treatment. Now, that's a mouthful. But if you seriously sit there and look at that, think about what's in that sentence. This scientist sat down and put pen to paper and provided strong scientific arguments that a micronutrient mixture, along with collagen peptides, probiotics, and CBD, and adjustments in diet, could reduce aging. If you don't look any further than that, it would blow the mind. But he went on to give a very specific element that's very common in aging, the progression of age-related Alzheimer's disease. Now, in this conversation, he said that he could have chosen any number of age-related diseases. He said, but Alzheimer's disease was one of the most common. So he focused on that in particular. So reduce the development and progression of Alzheimer's disease and improve its treatment. And he identified, did you notice that? 4 distinct types of nutritional supplements: a micronutrient mixture, collagen, peptides, probiotics, and CBD. Now, in yesterday's discussion or Sunday's discussion, he didn't get into anything specifically about the nutritional supplements in themselves. So if you're here for the first time right now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the nutritional supplements either. But I will tell you that the very top line there, we know of a particular micronutrient formulation that Dr. Prasad himself put together. And he was asked by the United States government and funded by the US Congress to put together this micronutrient formulation. Okay? He was asked by the US Congress to put together this micronutrient formulation. It was initially developed for the military. This was not done because of the idea of senior citizens in this country getting a better quality of life. That's not what it was developed for. The purpose of the government putting together that formulation was that they wanted the soldiers on the battlefield to be able to perform better in optimal performance. That was the objective. And Dr. Prasad was the only scientist that raised his hand and stepped to the floor and said, I could do it. He said, I'll take that challenge. Now, mind you, every single vitamin company in this entire country could have answered that call and could have taken up the challenge, but not a one of them did. And now you may be saying to yourself, well, why not? Why did not the makers of One A Day Vitamin do it? Why did not the makers of Flintstone vitamins do it? Why did not Nature Sunshine and other companies, why didn't they do it? They were already suited for vitamins and vitamin research. Why didn't they do it? Good question. And I can't really speak to that. But hypothetically, I can tell you this, that not a whole lot of money in manufacturing a really good vitamin that's going to make a difference in people's lives. There's not a whole lot of money in that. So but Dr. Prasad wasn't so much concerned about the money. Dr. Prasad was concerned about humanity. He really did have something that could make a major difference, and he wanted to share that. The government, it went through all kinds of trials. 7 patents were awarded to that product. 14 clinical studies, human clinical studies were done on it. And one of them included in the title was pulmonary and heart health. Another one had to do with hearing. Another one had to do with optimal health. And my favorite, the title is Micronutrient Formulation for the Treatment of Diabetes Mellitus. That's my favorite. Now, the products that we're dealing with today, microdaily and things like that, they don't have the patent, but it's based on that original formula. That entire original formula is in these products today. And that's the patent that was awarded to that formula. Micronutrient formulation for the treatment of diabetes mellitus. And don't take that lightly, because the word treatment is not given to just anything. The government doesn't do that. Only the government is allowed to declare something to be a treatment or cure for any disease. So getting back to Dr. Prasad's presentation. Now, because I said all that just to tell you that that's the background for this man, this scientist, Dr. Kedar Prasad. And he was the one that wrote this paper that we're discussing right now. And this is what his discussion was about this past Sunday. And the theme he chose was reducing the rate of aging and risk of Alzheimer's disease. So this is part 1 of the discussion. Part 2 will be this coming Sunday. So if you missed part 1, make sure you get to my YouTube channel, look at part 1, and then prepare yourself for part 2. Make sure you have anybody that you care about, you want to have them there. He gave us a history of aging and aging research, all started back in the year 3000 BC. It's been an obsession with living longer, he said, all the way back to 3000 BC. Plato, Aristotle, they had their original hypothesis and theories about things. Plato said that aging and disease were 2 distinct processes, 2 different things, aging and disease. But then his student Aristotle came along and said that they're all one process, where the loss of memory occurs with advancing age. So he considered that the disease process or degradation of health occurred as a result of the aging process itself. And then evolutionists came along with their theories. And Dr. Prasad commented on all of this. He said that there was a group of scientists that were looking for animal models because they're trying to figure this whole thing out. So they were looking for animal models with a shorter lifespan that could be used to identify what is referred to in the science world as cellular defects associated with aging and Alzheimer's disease. Because there's something in the DNA, something genetic, something defective that causes this to start taking place. So they figured they would just look at animals with a shorter lifespan. They could see them early on where everything is good. And then as they age in this very short lifespan, they could see when things start to go bad. See if they could isolate exactly what's going on in the DNA that makes them begin to manifest these issues. So they pointed out that the average human lifespan varies depending on regions. And I thought it was just amazing that China and the United States have pretty much the same lifespan. And that's just amazing to me, because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but rat is on the menu in China. Now, of course, there's all kinds of things on the menu in different parts of the world. It all depends on what you're accustomed to. In this part of the world, eating a cow is a problem to some people if you're from India. So, but we like steak. So in other parts of the world, like in Spain, they eat horse. We can't even think of that kind of thing. So depending on where you are. But anyway, the United States and China have pretty much the same lifespan. But look at Japan and Europe. The longer lifespan is over there. And that kind of surprises me. It really does surprise me. But anyway, getting back to what Dr. Prasad was talking about, he isolated that a few of the problems associated with the aging process. So he said, despite one thing here, despite doubling of the lifespan in the US because of the discovery of new drug and novel surgical procedures, it's the quality of life for seniors still remains poor. So that's a big problem, because you actually will hear folks even say it. No one wants to die, but my microphone seems to be dancing around here. But the National Council of Aging estimated that 80% of seniors have at least one chronic disease, and 77% have at least two chronic diseases. So that's a large number of seniors. And I just saw it on in a doctor's lecture. He was commenting on something very recently in the news about strokes. And he identified the statistic in the CDC's website that there are 55 million seniors in this country, 65 years or older. 55 million. So now the National Council of Aging estimates that 80% have at least one chronic disease, and 77% have at least two chronic diseases. That's a huge number of people that are in misery. So the question arises whether it's possible to have a long lifespan with a good quality of life. And Dr. Prasad's article has suggested that it is possible to achieve this. Now, for any of us even approaching the age of 65, any of us over 60, this is tremendously good news. And you would think that the news, the Goodyear blimp, and everybody would be screaming this piece of information here from the mountaintops. And we're very fortunate that the scientist who is focused on this happens to be associated with us. So it's a wonderful thing. But look at what he associated with age-related Alzheimer's disease. 80% of dementia is associated with Alzheimer's disease. That's what AD stands for. So 80%. And I look at the cost, $355 billion. And he got to the point where he said that the question arises whether it's possible to reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease and prolong the effectiveness of current treatments. And his research, the paper that he wrote, suggested it's possible to achieve this. So his paper is really very powerful when it comes to that. Now, here's where we kind of broke away and saw a couple of testimonials that really spoke exactly to what Dr. Prasad was conveying. So let's see if we can share one of those testimonials right now. So you guys just hang on for 1 second. See if we can't do this.
She was so sick. I didn't know what to think. I thought she was leaving here. And when I reached out to her on behalf of someone else's loss, she sounds so good. And she started telling me about the products. When I spoke with her, I was so impressed. And I couldn't sleep. But when I started taking the products, I noticed with taking the hydro, I had so much energy. I felt so much better. And for me, in 2020, I had a stroke. I wasn't able to work. I had so much brain fog. Anytime I drove, I would get lost. I would have to have people to help me in the conversation so that I would know exactly where I was in the conversation. But now we're taking the brain boost, the hydro, the eye products. I am so excited. I can speak to anyone, hold conversation. I can go any place I want to. I'm loving what God has put before us. Knowledge and wisdom that God has given man to bless us to have these products. I'm thankful for every testimony. I'm thankful for how good Beth looks, how she feels, and how she's caring about other people so that they can feel as good as she does. And I'm telling you, previously, months ago, I couldn't have a conversation like this. I would not know where I was in the conversation. I constantly had to call my husband and tell him I'm lost, I'm out, I'm lost. I don't know where I'm at. And this is places that I've driven for years. I even Googled one time how to put my wedding rings on. I forgot how to put them on. I'm so thankful, Jeff. Thank you so much for all that you've done. Thankful for this opportunity to share with other people that need to hear that God has something that will bless us, our health. Thanks, Beth.
Pretty amazing.
Well, like I said before, remember that when it comes to testimonials, they're purely anecdotal. The statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Results are atypical. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. Engage makes no claims that microdaily will treat or cure any disease. But isn't it interesting that just as Dr. Prasad is identifying that a micronutrient formula, mixture, and nutrition could make a difference with memory and brain issues, particularly the issues associated with Alzheimer's disease. Now, in her case, her problem was precipitated by a stroke, but it manifests very much like this dreaded Alzheimer's disease. In a couple of minutes, I'll show you another one that was very much connected to dementia. Okay, but Dr. Prasad went on to talk about a couple more things. Because remember we were talking about they were looking for these cellular defects associated with aging, the aging process. So they find these little critters, these little creatures with a very short lifespan, like even a mouse. A mouse is like, it has a lifespan of about 3 years. And they can learn a lot about a mouse. You can't do that with humans. Humans and their lifespan is much different. But they went through this process of trying to identify certain things that could tell them something in these very short lifespan. One of them was this nematode. It only lives between 18 and 20 days. So they're trying to identify where the cellular defects were in the nematode that caused it to start dying. The mouse, 12 months. Progeria mouse, that's the one, the genetic model. Anyway, they went through this whole process and they just worked on trying to identify these things. And after all was said and done, this is the list that they came up with. This is the list they came up with that was common when it had to do with aging. And all of these things are just unbelievable. And Dr. Prasad was going through and defining and explaining every single one of them, right? Oxidative stress, chronic inflammation, mitochondrial dysfunction, impaired DNA repair capacity, shortening of telomeres, autophagy defects, impaired immune function, loss of collagen and elastin, changes in the composition of intestinal flora in favor of harmful bacteria, increased production of beta amyloids, something really long, and abnormal behavior. That's the list of the things that, after all the years of research they did, this is what they came up with as to the cellular defects associated with Alzheimer's disease. Now, he went on to start breaking them down. That's what this is right here. This is a breakdown of each one of those things. We're not going to go through every one of them because it's very, very technical. But I do want to point something out to your attention, particularly on this page especially. Pay careful attention, because this thing here came up over and over and over again. That very first box you see, very first bullet point you see, oxidative stress. Now, I'm going to read that one. When the body produces excessive amounts of free radicals that overwhelms our antioxidant defense system, oxidative stress, which are very damaging, occurs. Now, free radicals enter into our body from a number of different ways. When we consume food, if there's toxins involved, it can become a free radical. Free radicals can be absorbed through our skin. When we drink water, when we breathe, all of that can introduce free radicals into our body. And the more free radicals enter into our body, the oxidative stress reaches a breaking point, and that can be very damaging at the cellular level. And you can see these scientists associated oxidative stress and free radical damage as, in fact, it was the number one thing on the list that led to Alzheimer's disease. The second thing, chronic inflammation. When the damage produced by free radicals or oxidative stress is not fully repaired, that's when chronic inflammation sets in. It produces toxic chemicals such as pro-inflammatory cytokines, complement proteins, adhesion molecules, and free radicals. So if the body doesn't have time to heal, chronic inflammation sets in. And I can just tell you as a side point, if you're not sleeping well, the body is not healing properly. And that can contribute to chronic inflammation, which I'm sure that's going to be mentioned on Sunday, connected to CBD. I'm pretty sure of that. So if you don't have CBD as part of your auto ship, you might want to make sure you do that, because chronic inflammation, the body has to have time to heal. It's got to have time to repair. But you can see number one and number two items associated with aging, and he connected this to Alzheimer's disease, is oxidative stress and chronic inflammation. Now, micronutrient formulation does a very good job of ameliorating free radical, oxidative stress, and chronic inflammation. A very good job. It does it at the same time, simultaneously, which is just outstanding. Now, mitochondrial dysfunction, that's a complicated, very technical subject, but the mitochondria produces energy in our body. The waste product from the mitochondria producing energy is hydroxy radicals. If those hydroxy radicals are not removed quickly from the body, they can in turn do damage to the mitochondria itself because it's a free radical. So this is where glutathione is so important. But that can contribute to the cellular defect. They connected this to aging as part of the aging process. Impaired DNA repair. So DNA is often damaged by repair enzymes. Oxidative stress reduces the capacity of DNA repair. So if DNA is not constantly being, repaired and recycled properly, that's connected to the cellular defects associated with aging and Alzheimer's disease. Shortening of telomeres, autophagy defects. Dr. Prasad commented on all of this stuff. And this one here probably stands out to you, the loss of collagen and elastin, because we've had entire hour-long discussions about collagen and elastin. That's what makes our body look and feel wrinkly, and our skin to not go back to the way it used to be when we were in our 20s and our 30s. It's because we lose collagen. Oxidative stress hammers our body and causes this to happen. From the age of 20 on, we begin to produce an enzyme that causes us to lose collagen and elastin, makes our skin less youthful looking. Is that enzyme in there? So what if there was a collagen that blocked that enzyme and helped to restore the collagen to the body? And that's just what happens that Dr. Prasad produced one of those. But again, those are the things he's going to be talking about next Sunday in part 2 of the discussion. And then one other additional thing that he mentioned was changes in intestinal flora in favor of harmful bacteria. So in other words, our gut has all kinds of bacteria in it. Do you know what can cause? I'm going to ask you, I want somebody to unmic and tell me your opinion. What can cause the balance of bacteria in our gut and our intestines and our colon to go from more favorable, the good, to more of the bad? What can do that? And I'm talking about something that, even may be considered medicinal for us. What can cause our bacteria in our system to go more toward the bad, or can disrupt it? Anyone? Just unmic and say it.
Can it be sugar?
Sugar can do it. Edward? Thank you, James.
Antibiotics.
That's what I was thinking. Because people get a sore throat, they go to the doctor, ask for antibiotic. People get a cut on their finger, they go to the doctor, ask for antibiotic. Every single thing go wrong with somebody, they run to the doctor and ask for antibiotics. And guess what you're doing? We're causing changes in our intestinal flora in favor of harmful bacteria. Because unfortunately, antibiotics, as good as they can be for what they're designed to do, they also have the side effect of causing the death of some good bacteria at the same time. Changes of intestinal flora in favor of harmful bacteria. But just like James says, besides increased oxidative stress, Dr. Prasad, in his published paper, mentions other factors, including fatty diet, excess sugar, and as Edward just said, medications. That's what was in Dr. Prasad's paper. Okay? Now, I don't know if this is kind of, from your point of view, if you're thinking this through, we're talking about basically life here. Life contributes to aging. That's what's going on here. Life is contributing to aging. Things that we do and take for granted is contributing to aging. So the final thing he commented on is this right here. This is the last thing that he commented on. Increased production of beta amyloid was identified as one of the cellular defects associated with aging and Alzheimer's disease. Just stop and look at those first 5 words there with that bullet point, folks. Just look at that. Increased production of beta amyloid. We've been talking about beta amyloid now for about the past 6 months in my channel, in this Zoom, because beta amyloid is very much connected to the degradation of neurons associated with Alzheimer's disease. It's a real problem. But the increased production of that was identified as one of the cellular defects associated with aging and Alzheimer's disease. Not good. Now, the good news, to me, the good news is that these things have been identified and we have the scientists in our back pocket, right with us, that's responsible for identifying these things. And this man has put forth a tremendous amount of effort with providing the very deficiencies identified to offset these cellular defects. Now, I'm going to share with you just one last story. This is Miranda telling a story about her husband. And the video is kind of funny because it was done when we hadn't done a whole lot of editing at that time. This is about a year or so ago. But Miranda is in the bottom 1/3 part of the screen. So see if you can't just follow it along and listen as she's describing her husband and her observations with her husband and his dementia. So you can see her down there on the bottom of the screen, right? Okay. It's a Zoom screen.
And make sure I plugged in, because when you're on the phone doing this, you probably can see me. But yes, I was introduced to Beth Studevant by another associate. And this individual, I kept talking to him about some of the things that were happening with my husband. And my husband's here with me. So he knows I've already talked about it, and he's going to hear again things that are going on with him and how he is improving. Well, I visited Beth in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I went there specifically for my husband. And when I did,
Tell us about your husband's problem. What was his problem, please, Miranda?
His problem, I hope you can hear me. His problem is
Yes.
he started forgetting, and just a little bit combative, but it's in the same token, that sweetness that I was getting all along was kind of like diminishing. And he had primarily, he just couldn't do the things that he normally would do. For instance, for a simple thing as changing the switch out in the toilet. He said, I don't remember how to do that, Miranda. So I did it. And I said, Lord, please, what can I do? I need help. And this one, I was introduced to Beth. I drove to Charlotte. And from that particular point, she gave him some hydro. We were there for over 3.5 hours. She gave him some hydro. He drank it, and we continued to talk. She gave him a shake. We continued to talk. She gave him the micro daily, the brain boost, the CD boost. She gave him everything, and we sat it long enough for it just to get to dissolve in the system. So in essence, within the time frame of getting ready to leave Charlotte, he had started acting just so kind, so sweet. I said, Lord, the devil is a lie. No, I don't want nobody to steal my husband from me. And I don't want this dreaded disease to take my husband away, because he comes from a family where several of his siblings have died of dementia and or Alzheimer. So in essence, it started working. And let me tell you this. I told him just the other day, I said, the kitchen light is kind of dim. It's gone out. Now, that's something he wouldn't even mess with. When I came home, it had been changed. I said, oh, my God, thank you. And then I said to him, I said, oh, I need to put another brighter light on the other side of the kitchen. I came home. The ladder was up. He was changing a bulb. I said, oh, thank you, Jesus. Little by little, it's little. I give it to him in the morning, but water, the shake too, right? The shake, the hydro. He drinks that constantly, and he said, "I don't know what's in that stuff, but it keeps me in the bathroom, Miranda." So I'm parking my car. So um, that's something that it has really, really, really made a major, 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 major difference in our relationship. He has now has returned to that sweet, gentle individual. And today, my husband is a person that makes me laugh all the time. So today I laughed so until I said, "Oh, we're almost back to normal." But he still forgets. I'll be in shortly, baby. He still forgets some things, but he's getting there. Now, Beth said to me, she said, "Miranda, excuse me, and put my brakes in." She said, "Miranda, after he's on this for about 3 months, you're gonna really see a major, major change." And I thank God for Dr. Prasad. Lord, y'all don't know. I just wished I had had this for some of his family members. But he's the only surviving sibling now. So in essence, he's just my miracle right now. And I'm praying and asking God to just continue to heal his brain, to heal what's going on in his body. Just do whatever it takes to bring him back to that loving person that when he touched me, I knew he touched me and saying, "Hey, I love you, Miranda." It's just one of the things, y'all, I can't even express, I can't even begin to tell you just how powerful this particular product is. It's powerful. It's powerful. And he's just only been on for a week. Just
Oh,
a
wow.
week.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you,
Just a
Miranda.
week,
Wow.
y'all. And do you know
Miranda.
something? I'm just so overwhelmed until whenever I see him do certain things, I'm saying, "Oh, the man I've been married to for 42 years is coming back to me." And that's beautiful, y'all.
Well, that's Miranda sharing her story. And I just can't say enough about that kind of thing. It's pretty powerful. But once again, I have to just kind of pass on the same information, folks, that when it comes to testimonials, the FDA has not evaluated these statements. Testimonials are purely anecdotal. Results are to you. Engage makes no claims that microdaily will treat or cure any disease state. So we had a different story that we shared with Dr. Prasad yesterday. I just couldn't find it on my computer in time, but this is one that we'll be showing this coming weekend. So we'll hopefully show this one, maybe one or two others, because it speaks directly to what Dr. Prasad's paper is talking about. And now we have some observational information that goes right in line with it. So what you want to do is make sure that you're there this coming Sunday. That's part 2 of this entire discussion will be displayed. I put the link to my YouTube channel so you can go find part 1 and hear Dr. Prasad as he covered it himself just day before yesterday, Sunday, here on this channel. And it's amazing. It's amazing to see it. And but again, folks, this is not just some feel-good session as to where we don't understand why these things are happening. We know exactly why they happen. We know exactly why. Because Dr. Prasad found the food that's missing from our food. All these people are doing is eating food. So these aren't drugs, nothing like that. It's just food. So it's just the food that is missing from our food. So it's nutrition. That's it. But it's very specific, very precise, and it's powerful. I think Miranda said it well. This stuff is powerful, y'all. This stuff is powerful. So we're going to stop right there, and I'll just tell you what we say to folks all the time. Just get back with the person who invited you to this discussion, and they will help you. They will help you to set up your own wholesale account for the product. It's not difficult to get it, and the price is extremely reasonable. In fact, you pay the same price that anyone of us who are affiliates will pay. This is what Dr. Prasad recommends. The Dr. Prasad. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So his paper included information, comments on CBD. So CBD was a part of what he recommended when it came to slowing this aging process down. So CBD is included. So you might want to make sure you include that in your authorship. And I'm highly recommending that, to everyone. And if you want some hard science and a book, one of Dr. Prasad's book, I highly recommend this book. I bought it. You can find it on Amazon. So take a screenshot or take your camera and grab that QR code, and you can find his book right on Amazon. How to Prevent and Improve Treatment when it comes to dementia and memory loss. It's an educational book, and it's written for the public. It's easy to, it provides easy to follow guidelines, how to avoid the risk of memory loss. And let's just face it, not a single one of us is getting any younger. And this is one of the ones that you want to have as part of your armamentarium. This book also provides recent scientific information on how to reduce the risk of memory loss and how to improve current drug treatment with the help of micronutrients. And while you're at it, my wife found that he still has the book on cancer, also on Amazon. So this is the screenshot you want to take right here and grab those two books and make them part of your library while books can still be found, because I still think one day books are going to go the way of the 8-track, but they're much less popular now than they were, but no less valuable, extremely valuable. But get back with the person who invited you to this discussion, and they'll help you. They'll help you set up your own wholesale account. Well, we got just a few minutes now that could take a few of your questions, because we really want to just get your observations. Try to pull that out of you early at the beginning of our discussion, especially if you were there yesterday. But if you have any questions about what you heard or something that's not clear thus far in Dr. Prasad's papers, a lot of science, a lot of technical things, especially what he presented yesterday was very sciencey. But I wanted to try to make sure that it was kind of broken down and we could get a little bit of a grip on it, in our discussion here as a little bit more intimate group, because there was about 200 or 300 people on there yesterday. And so very hard to really break things down and narrow it down. But go ahead, please, Mia. You've got a question or comment, please.
This has been a great call that you've compiled to bring us back up to speed. And we thank you so much, Jonathan. But I noticed that 2 different times someone talked about the hydro. Is there a way when we order the Dr. Prasad's Choice packet that we can substitute something in that packet for hydro, or do we need to order that additionally to our choice bundle?
You would need to order it in addition. You can't, once the bundles are put together as a SKU. So you either add to it or dismiss the bundle and just put your own bundle together, and customize it. Now, for a lot of folks, hydro, they love hydro because there's no capsule to break down, in the system, and they just put it in a bottle of water, shake it up, and they drink it down. So a couple of folks, they love that. Hydro is based off the original formula. It's based off the original formula. Now, the methylated built on the original formula. The methylated has the methylated B9 and methylated B12. The EMF includes the methylated B9 and B12, but also 4 additional ingredients. So if you're looking for quality and power of product, original and hydro are on the same level. Hydro is a little bit better than the original because it's absorbed faster. Methylated is better than the hydro. EMF is better than all of them. So that's the progression of the other products. So Some folks will get the hydro in addition to, just like you mentioned, in addition to their
I
Dr. Prasad
appreciate
choice
that,
bundle.
Jonathan, because
Okay.
what you're helping us to understand is that we don't have to necessarily spend extra and get the hydro, but instead by having that EMF, we have everything compiled, and that is the best one. And it fights radiation too, and 5G and all these things. So I'm glad we got this bundle with the EMF.
I think so. I
Mhm.
think so. I like hydro. I haven't used it in a while, just because I haven't needed it. You know, this EMF is so powerful. I usually will take 6 of them twice a day. Today I took 4 twice a day, and I wish I had stuck to my original 6. So I'm getting ready to swallow 3 more here in just a couple of minutes. I got them sitting right here in my little dish beside me. So I'm going to do my other 3 to get caught up. But nothing like the EMF formula. Again, not a single one of us is getting any younger. So we need the best that we can get. But thank you for your question, Omia. Much appreciated. All right. Anyone else with a question or a story that they would like to share? It's up to you. Any questions at all? There's no such thing as a stupid question. The only stupid question is the unasked question. We got time for maybe one or 2 more. All right. So if not, the most common question we get is how much?
Excuse me, Jonathan, I have a question. I just can't get my hand up.
Okay, go.
I'm sorry. I was trying to get this thing, couldn't get it up. Anyway, this is Barbara Green. I've been taking the EMS for going on, about 3 weeks now. And I could see a lot of progress, but the only thing that I don't like is my appetite has increased. And I'm craving stuff that I had stopped eating, like sugar, and I lost 40 pounds, and I'm feeling kind of bad about myself because I just can't help myself.
Okay. All right. So your appetite is increasing now that you're taking the EMF. Well, it could be, you said you're craving sugar.
Yes. And I do have the probiotics.
And you have the probiotics. It sounds like your is when you reduce oxidative stress, your resistance to insulin improves. Insulin is now in the body more. Maybe your body now is craving more sugar because now it's got more insulin in it. Do you have any other chronic problems? Any chronic issues?
You mean like illness?
Yeah. Do you have any chronic problem?
Oh yeah, I have severe depression, and I have arthritis really, really bad. I was falling. I'm not falling now. My balance is getting better. And I have sinus really bad.
Okay. But you're not diabetic or pre-diabetic, so that's good.
Well, I am diabetic, but I'm under control. I don't have to take any medicine.
Okay. So pre-diabetic.
Yeah, pre-diabetic.
It sounds like your insulin resistance is going down, is improving, is what's happening. So that's what it sounds like to me, but I can't really say one way or the other. And I have not run across people who said that their cravings have increased. But there are things you can do to curb your appetite somewhat, and to kind of back that down a little bit. Keeping breads and carbs out of your diet is a very good thing, and that will do it because your body is resetting. Your metabolism is also resetting. So that will do it. Shannon commented there, sweet cravings are helped with increased protein. So eating more protein will help to take down the craving for it. So, because that's kind of the direction I was going in, is that the less you eat breads and carbs like that basically turn to sugar, your liver interprets them as sugar, and the more you convert that and change that to things like greens and proteins, then the sugar cravings will start to go down.
Okay. Because I had completely gotten off bread. I had
Oh, good.
completely deleted sugar off my diet, but I started craving cookies. I got some graham crackers, animal crackers to kind of like, calm it down. I've been
Mhm.
eating fruit. That's been my goal, fruit and the vegetables, and been trying to eat sardines and stuff like that to kind
Mhm.
of feel that. And like she said, protein. So I will try that more of that. Hopefully that'll help. Because I lost 40 pounds and I don't want to gain,
That's good.
So
That's good. Those empty carbs is a good way to do that. But and a little bit of fat in.
I can't hear you. You're breaking up. Is that my computer?
No, it's probably my bandwidth is struggling. My computer keeps jumping back and forth and putting me on a different microphone. Okay, I'm back on the Yeti again. Sorry about that. If you're a meat eater, something fatty in the morning is good, because that tells your body that food is plentiful. So
Okay.
when you introduce your day with something fatty, the liver says food is plentiful.
Okay.
And then there won't be a tendency to store that away. Later, the body will burn that off.
Okay.
So that is also one very helpful thing. African mango has tended to be an appetite suppressant. So that's one of the things that can also cut down on the cravings for sugar. So if you can find a really good African mango
Okay.
product, a few drops of it, 5 or 10 drops under the tongue, and that usually will also help.
Sounds good.
You want to
I
calm.
really appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Keep us posted on how that works out for you. Okay, come back and let us know.
Will do.
Good.
Thank you again.
Mm-hmm. And Crypto Ray, you got the last word on this.
Hey, how you doing, Jonathan?
Very good, very good. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm diabetic also, and we all know that the more insulin you have, it's gonna make you crave more sugar. And what I found is that with the formula that we've been drinking, I have to inject insulin, right? But I've noticed that I have to take less of it.
Yeah.
Because with the formula, it makes me more sensitive to the insulin, and I burn sugar.
Yeah.
So when I was taking those large amounts of insulin, though, I was craving more sugar because I didn't need it. I didn't need that much insulin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was staying up in my body, and it was asking me for more sugar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I kind of understood that.
Mm-hmm.
So I decreased my insulin intake.
Yep.
I decreased it, and now I'm more balanced out. I don't really crave sugar all like that. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what I was thinking with Barbara, except that she's not insulin dependent. But the fact that her body became more insulin sensitive, less insulin resistant because she's taking it. Her pancreas is still dumping out a bunch of insulin that she doesn't need anymore.
Exactly.
So it was like it was overproducing. See, there's some scientists who believe that the measure of insulin in the body is really the real measure of how diabetic we are. And she was probably somewhere up in this area. Her pancreas was producing more. It's just got to be trained to produce less. It'll gradually go back the other way because it just doesn't need to put it out anymore. So
exactly.
That's what was going on. You are just controlling yours by injecting yourself less, and the cravings will go down.
Yes. So it's a miracle, and
it's unbelievable.
And I finally got my dad to purchase the collagen.
Good.
And I know that it's gonna affect him really well, and that he's gonna enjoy it. You know what I mean? And he's gonna see the benefits of it.
Yes, he will.
So thank you very much, Jonathan.
Yes, he will. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ray.
Hey, one last question now, real quick. What can I take a video, and not the raw video file, but maybe the YouTube link, and post it on my Facebook page?
Absolutely.
And I won't break any rules.
No, any of which links are you talking about? Mine or any other video?
Yours.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't have any problem with any of my
Mhm.
my videos can be any of these meetings, any of my meetings from my channel. You can post the links on Facebook. No problem at all.
Even with the ones with the testimonials.
Any one of them, you can any links of mine that you find, you can share them on social media.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I appreciate your help.
I keep the disclaimers in there so that people know that the statements have not been evaluated by the FDA, so we do not step out of line with that. Just share them with folks.
Wonderful.
Let's get the word out.
All right, cool.
All right. Thank you, Ray. Okay, and well, let's go ahead, Jack. We'll just take one more here.
I appreciate you taking mine. This is my first time speaking to you. I've only been on the call for about 10 minutes, but it's been a good 10 minutes. I have a question for you. The question is this: for someone suffering with diabetes, stage 4 kidney function, and has had a heart attack, what products would you recommend that they start taking with Engage Global?
Very good question. Keeping in mind that these products do not treat or cure any disease, keeping that in mind, Dr. Prasad's Choice Bundle, I would highly recommend. If you had to choose the minimum, the least number of products, I would go with EMF, Collagen, and Probiotic Boost.
Okay.
And
you got muted out for whatever reason. I couldn't hear you.
Okay, let me see if I came back. Okay, my microphone came back again. All right. There was a time when I used to think that a person had to take, really high quantities of product to get the benefits that you're describing. But I would start out with just taking 3 capsules, maybe 3 times a day of the EMF, and 1 scoop of collagen and 1 of the probiotic boosts. We saw one woman. I don't have time to play the testimonial for you now, but this woman, her mother was in the hospital with stage 4 kidney disease, and she gave her mom 4 capsules of EMF in applesauce. She was in intensive care.
You went out again. I got the applesauce part. Only your mouth is moving, Jonathan. I can't hear you.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
There we go.
Okay. Boy, this is aggravating. But she gave her 4 capsules, and 5 hours later, her mom started urinating. And because she was passing no urine before that. And 2 weeks later, her EGRF number went from 15 to like 36 in just a couple of weeks. Testing. Can you still hear me? Okay, you're still there.
I can hear you now. Your screen was frozen.
Okay. So in just 2 weeks' time, her EGRF number went from 15 to 36.
Okay. I'm curious about the applesauce part, because that, when you have one disease is one thing, but when you're dealing with 3, something usually triggers something else.
Well, ignore the applesauce. I'm just talking about the fact that that's how she delivered it to her mom.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's just in her case. The applesauce has nothing to do with it.
Okay. That's how she got her to take it.
That's all. That's just how she got it in her.
I got it.
So use yogurt or just use water. Don't even bother that. Just swallow them. I'm just letting you know that's how powerful 4 little capsules were with this woman who was in intensive care. So it's powerful.
Again, I want to thank you for taking my call. I know in the interest of time, you got to keep moving, but I thank you so very much. And I'll utilize what you said in earnest as probably as soon as this coming week. Thank you.
All right. Come back and let us know how it goes, please. We like to hear stories. I'm usually here on Thursday nights, so Tuesdays at 7, Thursdays at 6, Sundays at 5. Thursdays is we just want to hear stories. We want folks that just share your story. So if you want to hear folks' testimonials, just come back on Thursdays, share your story or hear stories of how individuals are getting benefits from the products that they're taking. And Sundays, we have the conference with the doctor. And then on Tuesdays, brand new presentations for folks like you. Just bring your guests and we'll try to help them understand how the product works. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you all very much for joining us. I don't know what's going on here tonight with my technology, but my computer is tired today, apparently. Very, very tired. So thank you folks for joining us tonight. It's been my pleasure and privilege to be your host and moderator. And again, for the record, my name is Jonathan Jones. Happy to have you folks with us anytime you come and join us. So you folks have a good night. We'll see you on Thursday night and Sunday if you can make it. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you so much. And you too.
Let's
Be
go!
safe.
Thank you. Thank you, Deborah, for joining me.
Thank you,
as the guest.
Jonathan.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Thank you very much for coming. Much appreciated. Appreciate your support. Folks need to hear this. That's all we know. Folks need to hear this.
Let's go!
That's right.
I don't know if my brother was on here or not.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, most of the time we always would think of somebody that we wish had been able to hear some of this information more. Just get them here. Get them here.